Do you have a customizable model and want to know how to retexture it? Well, I have the video for you. There has been a rise in the amount of custom models out there now, so I'm going to show you how to create your outfits, change the visibility of some items in Vtube Studios, and of course, customize your textures. To create a new outfit for your model, you need to go to the expression editor, which can be found over here. You want to now create a new expression, and this will bring up this tab here, which will show you all the different types of expressions that your model has. This could be changing the skin tone, changing the hair color, the hair shape, the clothing, the ears, the body type, the list goes on. Mess around with these expressions to find the outfit that you like.
2 hours later.
Now that I am done with the customization, make sure to name and then save your expression. You are then going to want to create a new hotkey and make sure you go down to Set Expression and select the test outfit. Once your outfit has been selected, make sure to record a keybind so that you can activate your expression. Once you have pressed your keybind, your outfit should now be applied to your model. There is further customizations which can be achieved through the art meshes of the model. To access these art meshes, we need to go to Settings, we need to go over to here on Model Settings and Customize Model and scroll down till you find Customize Multiply/Screen Color for art meshes. This will take a minute to load, so wait till it has fully loaded.
1 eternity later.
Now that we are in the art meshes, we are able to now hover over any of the items of clothing, and once you have done that, it should pop up with what item it is, say the tuck shirt for example. Now that we're on the tuck shirt, we can now go over here and change any color of your item. This is one way to be able to change the color of your textures. This is used for simpler texturing just by changing the colors. We will get to more advanced texturing later on in the video. Another cool thing that you're able to do is once you have selected the item that you would like to change, if you click onto the cross straps, say for example, I don't want the cross straps on this, I would like it just to be the mesh top, then instead of changing any of the color of the item, if you were to drag this down here, you can see that it's making the item transparent. So that way, the transparency means it will hide it. Say we now go to save this item after making it transparent and we press OK and we go OK here. You can see now that it has removed the straps. That is an added extra way that you can get some customization for your model. There are many art programs out there that you can choose from, including Clip Studio Paint, Procreate, Krita, Ibis Paint, the list goes on. Some example of free art programs to use include Krita and Ibis Paint. Krita is a program that I am more knowledgeable in, so I'm going to show you how to retexture your textures on Krita. Once you have downloaded Krita, this is what your homepage should look like. Once you have gone to your model folder and gone to your texture folder, grab the texture that you want to edit and drag and drop it into Krita. This should open up your texture in a file like this. I'm first going to show you how to apply color to the base texture. We're using this t-shirt here. The first thing that you're going to want to do is create a new layer. Now that we have that new layer, we can now alpha lock, which alpha locking makes it so that when you draw on a texture, your drawing will not go off that texture that you're trying to draw on. Now that you have fully colored over that texture, you will notice that the shading of it has now disappeared. Once you have fully colored in that texture, you want to go over to here where it says normal. You can see that it will come up with a bunch of different options. What we're looking for is multiply. Once you have applied multiply, you will see that the shading has returned back to the texture. This is the easy way of retexturing your texture to change the color. But there are other things that we can do to up the quality of our texturing. For example, let's make a simple band t-shirt. When retexturing a texture to make a black t-shirt, I recommend not going for such a harsh black, but more of a grey black, because the black will be a little too harsh in the texture and you won't be able to see any of the details that are on there. Now that you have your logo of choice, I want you to drag and drop it into Krita and insert as a new layer. Once you have it as a new layer, I want you to go over to the transform tool and you can see that it's now up here. Drag and drop it in front of where you would like to place it for your t-shirt. Now that the logo has been placed on your texture, move it around as much as you want to put it in the position that you are more preferred to have. And then make sure you save your texture file back into your model. But I'm going to show you a way on how to up your texture a little bit better. Say for example, you wanted a bit of a ripped t-shirt effect. We can now remove these layers and bring up the base texture. Now with a paintbrush and the eraser tool on, you can now cut through the t-shirt. I'm going to cut through the t-shirt to make a little bit of a shape to make it look like the t-shirt has been slightly ripped. You can see that you can see through this texture now. And once we reapply our layers, you can see the holes in the t-shirt. Once you are satisfied with how it's turned out, I will now save it back to the texture file and reopen the model. Now that we're back in Vtube Studios, you can see that the t-shirt that we have created has now been applied to the model. And you can see, because we have cut out a hole with the t-shirt, you can see through the t-shirt, which is a cool added effect. But there are further alters that we can do to these textures to make them more unique and stand out for ourselves. That goes into a more advanced texturing. Here is a little overlook of what my model currently looks like with all the retexturing that I have done to her. You can see that for the overcoat I have added constellations to the background and made a galaxy effect as well. These are all features that you can achieve throughout texturing your model. For the torso, I have also made a custom design pattern, which included me drawing on some extra details to make it look like it has ribbing. I have also added some added things to the controller like my logo and created a galaxy effect to my arms. Let's say that we really enjoyed the skirt, but I would like to texture it in a little bit of a different way. So I'm going to show you how we can pull that off. This is the same skirt that we were just looking at, but I have gone through and retextured it, and now it has a whole other form and a different shape. This is what I would like to class as more advanced texturing, as you were taking an item and drawing within its bounds to create something completely different. For now, I have briefly moved us over to Clip Studio Paint where the files reside for this skirt. If I were to remove all the current layers that I have drawn on here, you will see that after all that remains is the base skirt that we originally started with. What I have gone and done is made sure that I've stayed in the bounds of the skirt itself. As long as you stay in this texture, you are then able to create whatever design that you can imagine. For example, like this skirt, I drew on all the lines that were necessary that I needed, and then I proceeded to remove any of the blank area that I didn't need anymore. This is an example of what it looked like after I had finished with all the line art. As you can see, I used a symmetry tool to make the job easier for us. I made sure to line up the symmetry tool within the middle of the skirt, which then I was able to draw the exact same pattern on the opposite side, so it makes it a lot easier for new people. I did the same thing we did before by texturing the texture to make it colourful, and then I proceeded by adding extra highlights to the dress to bring out the ruffles. The reason I have a slight preference towards Clip Studio Paint is because there is many brushes that you can obtain throughout the store. This could range from textures, this could range from chains, frills, and extra patterns. This is another way to add a bit more depth to your textures. For example, I have this beautiful flower pattern, and once you see that I can apply it onto the model, as you can see now this has a lovely floral pattern. All these types of brushes can be useful in any sort of scenario that you're looking for. For example, you wanted to add some chains. Well, as you can see, you have brushes like these, which can add a chained effect to your drawing. These can also be changed in whatever colour that you provide. There are also stuff like torn holes that you can use for your jeans, even different style of chains for your clothing, or maybe you're even looking for some buttons, which then you can use brushes like these to add a little extra detail. After all of this information, I hope you have a bit of a better understanding on how to retexture your textures. I know that it can get quite confusing, especially if you do not know how to retexture or draw. There are certainly some workarounds that we can achieve by just adding a simple pattern to your textures. If you would like more information in the future on different topics about VTubing or any customization for the model, please let me know in the comments. I would like to open up a suggestions box so that you guys can tell me what you would like to see in the future. And if you would like, I might do a video in the future of me retexturing something so you can see the full process of how I do it. This would remain an uncut video, therefore you can see everything that I do. Thank you very much for watching and take care. Goodbye.